Gavin Guidry season is over before it begins. It's an emergency episode of Locked On LSU. Let's go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making this your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you so much for that. LSU beat McNeese on Tuesday 10-3, but the loss came in the post-game press conference when Jay Johnson stepped to the podium and announced that junior right-handed pitcher Gavin Guidry is done for the season due to that lingering back injury. We'll let you hear what Jay Johnson said in just a moment. I want to react to that, what it means not only for the Tigers this season, but also what it means for the Tigers next season, provided Gavin Guidry is back. I'll tell you what I know coming up here in just a quick second, but let's begin with what Jay Johnson said. This was on his post-game interview as part of the LSU Sports Radio Network broadcast with Bill Franquez after LSU's win Tuesday night against McNeese. Jay Johnson was asked by Bill Franquez for an update on Gavin Guidry. Here is the full answer and full disclosure. This runs about 2 minutes. Okay, so it's a long soundbite, but I didn't want to break it up and leave anything out. This is the full answer that Jay Johnson gave on Gavin Guidry.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to have a procedure on Friday, back procedure that, it's going to knock him out for the rest of the season. Yeah. I am optimistic. The recovery from the surgery is only 3 to 4 months, though. So we expect him to be back. We expect him to pitch for us. And, just want to support Gavin in the best way possible. And it's kind of been like a roller coaster of things. Like the last time he pitched was February 7th, which was 1 week before the season. He actually threw a bullpen on the Monday after the first series of the year. We didn't use him against Purdue Fort Wayne. There was no point in using him because those were blowout scores. Right. He was going to start the game at Nichols that we actually got rescheduled because of rain. He woke up the next morning, did not feel well. We got an MRI and felt like we could treat it, with some medicine. And we did that, and then it got it back to where he could throw again, and we were building the throwing program back up. He threw a bullpen at Texas, and then the next week we felt like we were moving closer to go, and it wasn't feeling good. We tried kind of one more round of treatments, re-imaged it, and basically the medicine was kind of masking pain for a little while, but not fixing the issue. Yeah. And so after that, we've tried a couple more things, and then it just kind of got to like, hey, we need to have this procedure done so he can get this behind him, and we expect him to make a full recovery. Right. And, I on two fronts have been really positive. He's been great in the dugout. He's still very engaged with the team. He literally sits down pretty close to where I am. And on the other end, he's got a window now where he can recover properly and get ready for next fall, and should be able to pitch again in the fall.
That's great news, Coach. Certainly we're disappointed that he won't pitch this season, but looking forward to Gavin's recovery. And I know that everyone who loves LSU and loves LSU baseball supports Gavin
100%
in his work to come back.
Yep, absolutely. And we got him the best doctors, possible. And he has his procedure on Friday with, probably the best guy in the world, at these types of procedures. And happy for that. And, I think, the one silver lining is, and you see it on a night like tonight is, we were fortunate where that's a tough guy to lose, but we got some other guys stepping up, and, great night for the bullpen, Connor Binge, Connor Ware, Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams, Jacob Myers. They can pick up the slack here for another couple months, and we'll get number 8 back next year.
So the full comments there from Jay Johnson, a couple things worth highlighting. So, and I know this is interesting to a lot of you because throughout the course of this season, if I were to check the questions that I get asked the most from your comments on Twitter, my show text line, whatever it may be, it's some combination of should Cowan or Evans move into the starting rotation, and what's the latest on Gavin Guidry? I get that all the time, as you might imagine. There was a lot of speculation, and quite honestly, the speculation was foolish. As I was told, Gavin's dealing with a nerve injury in his back that actually exacerbated with a second injury adjacent to that, but he's going to have the procedure on Friday, and hopefully it does the trick and he's able to get back. One of the things you heard Jay say there that I think is kind of important was that Gavin was going to start the game against Nichols, that first midweek game of the season. Remember, he didn't pitch against Purdue Fort Wayne because they didn't need him, but he was going to start that Tuesday against Nichols. That was the game that it was rainy and 30 degrees, and so they postponed it to last week. In his career, Gavin Guidry has made 45 appearances. He's thrown 53 innings over 2 seasons. Again, so as a reliever, he started one game. Started one game in his career. Of his 45 appearances, 44 of them have been in relief. So he started one game. The fact that they were going to give him a start against Nichols suggests what we had heard all offseason, was that he was working toward possibly being a starting pitcher for this team. Well, there's a lot of reasons that this becomes impactful, because if you had Gavin Guidry and he was able to extend and start, then maybe the questions people keep asking about Cowan and Evans maybe moving into the rotation become minimized, because you'd have Guidry as someone who could potentially be a starter, and you could keep those guys in the bullpen. Or you could move Cowan or Evans to be a starter because you had Guidry in the back of the bullpen. So losing him is a major piece. I mean, Gavin Guidry is nails. He's a guy that took the ball as a true freshman and got the final out of the College World Series in Omaha. This year, he's wearing the coveted number 8 jersey. You notice Chris Stanfield's wearing Gavin Guidry's old number 1. That's because Guidry changed numbers to the coveted number 8, which signifies a great leader. You heard Jay talk about it in that comment right there, that Guidry's a guy that's been great in the dugout, sits right next to him. He's been encouraging the guys despite the injury, which is great to see. But yes, this is a guy that you were going to count on in one capacity or another. If he did emerge and showed that he could extend, he could have been a starter for you. And maybe that alleviates some of the issues that you've had in the bullpen, or it would have allowed Evans or Cowan or something like that to move into a starting spot because you had Guidry in the bullpen. Without him, it's left you thin and left you at this point where you're vulnerable. Now, Tuesday was a great day for LSU's bullpen. The bullpen pitched 5 2/3. I think I had it written down. It was 5 2/3. I thought I had it written down, but I had the box score up. They were fantastic against McNeese. The 3 runs. No, the bullpen gave up 1 run. Yeah. Yep. Bullpen gave up. Connor Ware gave up a run in the top of the 5th. William Schmidt, who was very good in a starting role, ran out of steam in the 4th, but was fantastic. Retired 9 in a row at one point. Ran out of steam. But the bullpen, aside from Ware walking 2 of the 3 hitters he faced, was really good. So you're seeing a lot of those guys come along. In any event, I don't want to lose sight of the point. The bullpen was great against Auburn. They were good again Tuesday. You have confidence a lot of those guys are picking up. Maverick Rizzi was outstanding. He pitched over 2 innings and struck out 6 and was awesome. Didn't walk anybody. That was fantastic to see. You see the potential there. So LSU's got enough arms. You just have to have guys continue over the next 2 months, as you heard Jay say there, develop and grow and progress. So with Gavin Guidry slated to come back in 2026, how does that look with who LSU's losing, who they might have coming back? And is Gavin Guidry a potential draft risk? Because this is his draftable year as a 3rd-year player. So he is draftable this season. So would a team take a shot? I did have a conversation with an MLB scout after the news broke on Tuesday night. I'll tell you what he told me as we continue Locked on LSU, your team every day. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena. And with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. I love the all-in pricing, which I tell you about all the time. No surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. And the last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Y'all take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem with the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Today's show is also brought to you by Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track your shared and personal accounts. You can set goals. You can stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So Gavin Guidry's 2025 is over. You did hear Jay Johnson, though, say they expect him back next year, 3 to 4 month recovery, which means if you're looking now at April, July, August, when you'd have him recovered, which means he would be available for fall ball. That is assuming Gavin Guidry returns for 2026. Remember, Gavin Guidry is now 3 years removed from high school, which means he is draft eligible. So if a team wanted to select Gavin Guidry, they could. When Jay Johnson broke the news on Tuesday night, I did reach out to a friend who's a longtime Major League scout, and I said, would a team take a risk on Gavin Guidry this summer coming off of back surgery? And the flat answer was one word, which was no. And that is massively disappointing for Gavin Guidry. Now, it's great for LSU, and hopefully the story ends well, because Gavin could pitch his senior season at LSU or redshirt junior season at LSU because he would have redshirted. He'd still have draft leverage. But again, you're talking about a guy who could come back, throw another season, probably make a little NIL money, maybe pitch well, and have an opportunity to elevate his draft stock. But it's also a cautionary tale because Gavin Guidry passed on $1.9 million that I was able to confirm out of high school. I don't know how many other teams might have called and offered him money, but I was able to confirm he got at least minimum an offer of $1.9 million coming out of Barb. They passed on to come to LSU. And it's the cautionary tale. It's why we get so excited when guys pass on money to come to college and play for our favorite team, because we want our favorite team to win. And these guys help. But you can't help but think of someone like Cameron Johnson, who passed on reportedly close to $3 million to come to LSU, couldn't throw strikes. He's at Oklahoma now, can't throw strikes. And whenever his draft time comes, he's not going to get close to that number. And same, unfortunately, it appears for Gavin Guidry, who passed on just shy of $2 million to come to campus. And he's been a reliever and a good one, but now this back injury certainly sets him back, if you'll forgive the pun. And hopefully he comes back in 2026 and has an amazing season and is able to recoup some of that. But you start to look at how LSU's pitching staff will shape up in 2026. Remember, you're losing your entire rotation. Cade Anderson is a draft-eligible sophomore. He is projected to be a top 15 pick in this summer's draft. Anthony Ianson, also draft-eligible. He will be gone. It's only a matter of how high he goes. But remember, guys that go in the top 10 rounds are gone, because that's where you have the slot bonuses. So if your name is called in the top 10 rounds, you're gone. Ianson will certainly be there, as will Chase Shores. And with Shores, look, he's 6'8" and he throws 100. So there's a team, he's already off of Tommy John. There's a team that's going to take him and it's going to take a flyer on him and draft him much higher than you would think, because the season hasn't been great this year. But I'll also remind you about Ty Floyd. Here's the parallel. Ty Floyd was a guy who in 2023 really struggled to find consistency in the first half of the year. In the second half of the year and then into the postseason, he pitched his way all the way to becoming a back half of round one guy. Would not surprise me in the least. Would not surprise me in the least if someone like Chase Shores was able to push toward that at the end of this season. Remember, he didn't pitch for 2 years because of Tommy John. So he gets more mound time, more comfort in command of his pitches. His slider's already looking better. He could be a dominant guy by the end of the season. So you're going to lose Anderson, Irons, and Shores. Zach Cowan, although he's a junior, could return, but this is his draft year. I'm told it is more than likely Zach Cowan will sign and will be gone. Jacob Myers, the same thing. He'll sign and be gone. A guy throwing 98. Ben McDonald on the broadcast on Tuesday with LSU and McNeese spoke about it if you heard. He said he believes Myers will be a top 5 round guy because someone's going to look at that explosive arm talent and say, I can teach that guy command, and you're going to take a flyer on him. He'll be gone. Connor Bench throwing 97 will be gone. Jacob Beck is a senior. Excuse me, not Jacob Beck, Dalton Beck. Forgive me. Jacob Beck works with us at Guarantee Media. Dalton Beck we just haven't seen Dalton Beck very much this year. He's a senior, so he'll be gone. The point is, you're losing a ton of arms after this year. The good news is Devin Sheeran, the transfer from Mount St. Mary's who tore his ACL, Devin Sheeran will be back. William Schmidt will be back. Kason Evans will be back. Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams. Jaden Newt could come back. He may decide that it's time just to go try his hand at pro ball, already having lost time due to Tommy John. But Newt could return for another season, and it looks like you'll have Gavin Guidry back as well. So that's a really good starting point, launching point, but understanding also, just like you did 3 years ago where you went into the portal and you got Paul Skeens, or I should say, I guess it's 2 years ago, or last year when you went into the portal and you got Luke Holman from Alabama, and I'm blanking on the lefty from UCLA. Goes to show you how much I could picture him in my mind, how much these guys are in and out. But anyway, the point, and then this year you went into the portal and you got Ianson and Sheeran and Cowan. So you went and got all these guys. Gage Jump is who I was thinking of. Forgive me. Sorry, Gage. He was fantastic. He was probably LSU's best arm by the end of the season. So in any event, you'll have some guys returning, but you are no doubt going to go into the portal and find starting pitching again, because that's just the nature of college baseball now as well. So Gavin Guidry, it appears, will be back for 2026, coming off of back surgery. Will he factor into the rotation? Will he be back at the bullpen? But he'll have ground to make up after not pitching for the 2025 season. Very unfortunate injury to Gavin Guidry, a great Tiger, a Louisiana native kid who wanted to play at LSU, passed on nearly $2 million to come play at LSU, won a national championship. He's got immortality. He was on the mound for the final out of the 7th national championship in Omaha. But it's going to be a long road back for Gavin Guidry. Prayers for an amazing and successful surgery on a procedure on Friday, and a quick recovery for Gavin Guidry. And of course, as we progress here, we'll talk about it on Locked on LSU. Hey, do me a favor. If you are on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video, and let a friend know if they love the Tigers. We got you here every single day for Locked on LSU, your team every day.